Hey everyone, good morning. Justin Madison here. Today we're going to talk about the economy here in the United States and how it relates to us and what you can do about it. You got to take actionable steps whenever you read the news and you have to look at it productively. So, today we're going to talk about an article out of Zero Hedge. It's Snyder. Here are 7 astonishing economic charts that will absolutely blow your mind. And I'm going to shorten this up a bit, read some of the charts that he's talking about. So, first one is government spending is expanding to an exponential rate. As you can see from the charts, federal spending is now roughly 14 times higher than 1980. And I mean, it just shoots way up. I mean, we're over $6 trillion a year now that we're doing with our fiscal budget. The amount of money, it's so high. Our GDP is something like $22 trillion a year, so six. So about a third of the money that people generate in the U.S. is going just to government taxes. The other thing is U.S. government debt is absolutely exploding. So the United States government debt is $36 trillion. I mean, that's insane. 36 trillion. I mean, you just do the math. GDP, that's 22-ish trillion. Depends on the year. And you got 36. So you have, what is that, approximately a year and a half of revenue for the United States is just going, yeah, I mean, it'd have to pay off the debt. So, I mean, that seems like a pretty tough one to get out of. And then you have others here. The growth of our money supply is a horror show. So, if you look at the M1, just look at how M1 has been skyrocketing over the couple of years during the pandemic. M1 went from about $4 trillion to $20 trillion. The Federal Reserve is clearly the guilty culprit of economic malpractice. Is there any way that we're going to be able to avoid paying a very serious price for all this reckless money printing? So M1 is the money supply. That's pretty much how much currency is in circulation. I believe M1 is like total bank accounts plus. So, or total, excuse me, money and supply. So that would be your inflation everyone talks about. If you have more money that's in circulation, it can spread out to more stuff, and that makes all the stuff more expensive. So that's the top three. And then it goes on. Household debt has soared almost to unbelievable levels over the last 30 years. Right now, we're at the highest credit card rates in all of American history. Everyone's got a credit card balance. It's insane. And then the total debt of all governments in the United States is over in $100 trillion worldwide. That's a lot of money, and not everyone makes $22 trillion like we do a year in revenue. Most countries don't even make a trillion a year in revenue. So, also, number six, more than 100 million U.S. adults that do not have jobs are considered to be not in the labor force. 100 million U.S. adults that do not have jobs are considered to be not in the labor force. 100 million, man. There's 330-ish million, I mean, people in America. That's including children and old people. That's crazy. And then the price of gold has gone absolutely nuts. Gold, it's a safe haven, and it's at all-time highs. So, what's kind of the takeaway here? We have a just general snapshot of the overall economy, and it is not good looking, right? You have everyone's in debt. Prices of things are very high. Not that many people are working compared to in the past, and you know, it's going to be tough to get out of all this debt. The government has it, you and I have it, and what can you do about it? Well, first, you got the Dave Ramsey approach: pay down your debt, you know, live below your means, et cetera, et cetera. That's fine and well and all, but it's like trying to just grit your way through something and try and make it so that you can get ahead by, you know, just using your sheer willpower, which is not a very effective solution for a lot of people. Most people just aren't going to do that. They're going to default. And, there's going to be a lot of economic pain in the future. So Some of the things that have happened in the United States in the last, let's just say, 100 years or so is we have gone completely away from uh, small businesses and being independent people in the economy. Most everyone for a lot of human history was a small business. There really wasn't people who were employers, or excuse me, employees. And that's a forgotten set of skills and, you know, um, just abilities that people have lost. And, I think that the best way to try and make an above average amount of money or above the median is to have some type of small business. You've got to have a way, this is very important, to control how much money you can earn. So you go to a salary job, that's as much as you're going to make probably till the end of the year if you get a pay bump or a bonus at all. You may have to negotiate it. Most people may say, no, sorry, we can't pay you anymore. But here's the cool thing: you get all this inflation, everyone else is going into debt, and everyone's going to default. If you can, and a lot of people say this is best, start a small business and you can have control over the pricing. As things go up in price, you can adjust how much you charge based off of materials you may have to use or the labor force that you yourself have to hire, and you can float on top of that inflation and increase how much you make year to year, month to month. I have a business, I do this. My customers say, maybe, hey, this is kind of pricey or something, this is a little expensive. And I'm like, well, I'm happy to show you why it costs this amount of money. I have these materials I have to buy, and here is the price. I can't control that. I can go and try and find discounts at wholesale, but that's the best that it is. And then on top of it, I can even do a breakdown. I have employees, and this is what their labor cost. They need to be able to feed their families. They need to be able to have a place to live. And this is how much the median rent is across the United States. And this is your average grocery bill. So if I want to do this, service or product for you, I have to charge this amount of money. And people are very understanding about that type of stuff. And they realize very quickly they may go to other, businesses that do the same thing and say, hey, I would like to, have this done. I got one quote from this person, and can you match it? And most of the time, it's the same price. So if you are trying to get your way out of all of this rough time, start a business. Start a small business. It can be anything at all. Maybe you have a job now, you're doing something, and you're considering like, hey, I could probably do this on my own, and I have a lot of skill and knowledge about this topic. Just go out and do it. During the Great Depression, the most wealth was generated by the masses as everything was going down. And it had to do with, when, people go out of business, the bigger businesses, they have to sell off all of their equipment. And you can come in and you can get it at a cheaper price because it's used, and there's no one with a lot of cash on hand. And then also, they're not servicing all those customers anymore because they couldn't figure out how to do it. But you could come in as just a small person, and that big chunk of the pie, you can go in and just get a sliver. And, for you, it's a huge sliver. For that company, it may have not been. And you can make a lot of money. And also, you'll be more flexible because when you get a business that's big and they have grown for decades, they get stuck in a way of doing stuff. And they're not able to pivot very well. They're not able to be flexible. But if you're that small business and maybe you've been working somewhere and you've said all the time, like, hey, there's a better way of doing this. Like, this is ridiculous. Why are we doing this like this? Well, now that you're the small business owner, you have the opportunity to make those pivots, and you have the ability to do those little things that you think make more sense and are more reasonable. And that'll translate to being more efficient, which will allow you to be able to service more people in whatever it is you're doing. Look, this is the way to go. College is, I mean, sheesh, you're talking about getting into debt 30, 50, sometimes $120,000. I know doctors and lawyers sometimes they're up in the $200,000 to pay for everything to go to college. That's a lot to take on for someone just coming into the workforce. But look, you're a business owner. Start small, start simple. You can do way more probably than you think you could, and you'll start off without that debt. It's a great thing for young people. So something to think about. My name is Justin Madison again. I appreciate you for watching, and have a nice day.